Okay, we are on air. And we're about to start, actually from the bottom of Daf Amud Beis in Megillah. That is the let's start again from the two dots. Bahakel. The Hakel cannot take place on Shabbos, the gathering on the Shechol Moed Sukkos on the 7th year, Shemitah year, Moed Shemitah. Because of Tchiyas Shofar, which is not the Shabbos. Because they have to construct the bima, not the Shabbos. Yasum has something else. We should make it from yesterday. No, you don't make it the day before in order not to crowd the Hazorah. I know this is Chazar. We did this last week, just going through quickly. Because it has to do with putting a shera in the Beis Hamikdash by putting wood in the Beis Hamikdash, which is not required. Okay, Masisa and Meir. Dam Rabbi Meir, the least lo mispad lo lisanos. Our Mishnah is with Rabbi Meir, who said that you don't make a hesped and you don't be misane. Well, let's just do it slowly. Masnisa Rabbi Meir. The lo Dam Rabbi Meir, the lo the mispad, the lo mispad not. It's also make hesped. Also lisanos. Those which you now may hesped on the days of Megillah's Tanis, now they can hesped on. You also now allowed to be Messiah. The lowly sanos Messiah hesped, but those days says that you're not allowed to fast. Specifies now to fast. You are allowed to do a hesped on those days. Okay, this sugya says the Pnei Moshe, last Pnei Moshe on the page. Hai sugakul ad lo bedah haloch gestam gosin lev perk beza Tanis. It's really a sugya which appears in Maseches Tainus. Masitzer in the Gemara on Masnisin Dosam Kai. It's all going on that Mishnah in Maseches Tainus, not on our sugya really in Megillah. But anyway, this is a generic point. We have to do Megillah's Tainus. Certain days in Megillah's Tainus which are mentioned as being more significant holidays. It says about them there's no hesped on those days, and that includes there's no Tainus on those days. And then there are days which are less significant days in Megillah's Tainus. They're choshev enough that one doesn't fast on them, when one is allowed to make a hesped on them. Amar Shimon said, "Mata mulomar behon behon." I mean, why did it say on them? On them. Now we're fascinating. Darshim Megillah's Tainus. Megillah's Tainus is a brisa. We're actually the fact that it says behon twice. Behon. Why does it say behon twice? And lamid shalayla mutar vayom aser. And all those things are mentioned Megillah's Tainus. It's only on the day. Again, the holidays Megillah's Tainus are all minor holidays. The only ones which are not batel today are Chanukah and Purim. So that specifically on the day themselves, it's forbidden either to be Misana or to be Misana and Masmid, but not the night of that day. Okay, Piadah. The Gemara says like that, and here there is here I wrote on the side of my Gemara a quote from my Gemara in Tainus, which says, "Hasiyosevucha." This is me quoting myself. The sugya is complex. Nearly still derech chadosh, and it seems we should start a new pathway here. The atam askil phrase shitas mishnah seinu, that now we're beginning to explain the shita of our mishnah. The belayla nami also the hesped. Our mishnah holds that you're not allowed to make a hesped at night, also on the days on which the days which we said here. Days in which you days which you read. One second. Days which are the days which are. I'm stuttering. Sorry. If you go back and look at the Mishnah on Kedal Base, it says Ezer Gedol Koshish Ba'asar Batlaim. Pas Mikan Rez Kfar Be'elo Amur Makdimin V'Lo Machin. Zman Tzei Kohen Vam Tishba V'Hag Chagiga V'Hakal Machin Lo Makdim Ambrish Makdim V'Achrim V'Achrim L'Mutorin. Okay, so the days when they're done on the different days are mutar behesped v'tainis. But the other days, if they're done on the day themselves, let's say this man atzei kwanim va'am, right, done on their proper day, which are days in Megillah's tainis, it's also to be maspid and to do mata and to do hesped and tainis. It seems both at night as at day. So it seems that our Mishnah argues on this premise that it's mutar at night and also only during the day. Our Mishnah holds that it's also both at night and at day. Okay, so again, v'toila b'kach sheyomim elu hutru l'tainis l'misped rak l'mishakiba livneim tainis. And it said, it's our Mishnah. The Gemara is about to say that the days in which you're allowed to do tainis and misped are only days in which you are allowed, which you are in kabo tainis and hesped. Okay, so let's read it inside. Gadatani lehain inishli heavy like asur bitslo. Like a person who was makabel tainis on one of the days of Megillah's tainis, he was makabel tainis the day before in mincha. So then he does fast, and he does actually have a maspid on them. So so the Gemara says more erev. He's got to mention it from the night before. Now, this is important. In other words, he's got to evening before. The Kabbalah's class has to be on the day before, not on the day itself, right? You say it like Leil Shabbos and during its daytime. So, in other words, that just like Kabbalah Shabbos has to be prior to the night of Shabbos, so too Kabbalah's Tainus has to be prior to the night of the Tainus, even though you're not fasting at night. But nevertheless, it's fast the next day. But nevertheless, well, I should say it's the generic Tainus. You can be Makabal Tainus starting at night, but you don't have to Makabal Tainus starting at night. You can be Makabal Tainus during the day. But even when you Makabal Tainus during the day, you have to be Makabal the Tainus in the Mincha beforehand. And this is because in Lumdus, even though the actual fasting only takes place during the day, nevertheless, the day of the Chalei Shem Tainus becomes a Chalei Shem Tainus at night. Which is why there's a whole shaila in the poskim whether you're allowed to make a chasna Shiva Sar B'Tammuz by night. The Shiva Sar B'Tammuz is technically not yet the fast, from fast means in the morning, but it is already the 3 weeks, and therefore it's a problem. Okay, so Masnisa Obiud Aleph Krabi Yossi, Obiud Beis Krabi Meir. So the our Mishnah is talking. Just like the fast days begin the night before. So on a fast day, so too the days of Megillah's Tainus also, according to our Mishnah, begin the night before, and therefore it's also according to Hesped and Tainus already from the night before. Just like the fast days, again, even if you're only fasting for the day, really begin the night before, and because you're Makabel Mincha the day before, so too the days of Megillah's Tainus are the night before. Now, I made a mistake before. A mistake I've made before, which I just realized, I'm sorry, is that it's not when you're Makabel Tainus for one of these days in Megillah's Tainus you're allowed to fast on them. That's not true, okay? So I'm going to go back to the top of the page. So it says, top of Avam Ralph. Kadatani lahen inishebi also slow. Stam. A generic day. Of course, the days of Megillah's Tainus, you're not allowed to fast no matter what. It was a silly mistake on my part. You're not allowed to fast no matter what. We're saying, just like the days of Megillah's Tainus, just like a regular Tainus. You have to be Makabel Tainus upon yourself if it's a Tainus Yochid from Mincha before, and it starts and night goes on into the day, right? As long as you Makabel Tainus lahen. In the heavy Aser Bitzlo, he has to be Makabel the day before. And Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Boon, shoot Tzorglas, give me by Arab. It's got to be from before nightfall. Vasaki, Dam Rabbi Zir, B'Shem Rav Chuna. And it's like Rabbi Zir's name, Rav Chuna, Omer, Lel Shabbos, Yomo. It's like Lel Shabbos and its day. And it's Masnisa. So too, in the days of Megillah's Tainus, the same thing. Megillah's Tainus also, they start the night before. And therefore, so they have the same status, they're no worse. And a Tainus Yochid in the flip. And just like Tainus Yochid, starts from the night before, even if de facto it only starts during the day, but de jour, right? De jour does start the night before. As I mentioned, Shiva Serba Tammuz, which you're not allowed to make a chas the night of Shiva Serba Tammuz, it seems. If I recall correctly, it's the Truma Ramosh, and I think he answers it, I'm pretty sure. But in any event, so too, the days of those times, they begin de jour the night before, and in this case, not de jour, but also de facto, according to our Mishnah. According to Mishnah, according to Rabbi Gamliel, it's also de jour the night before, de facto during the day. Right now, to Hesped and Tainus. According to our Mishnah, Gemara Mishnah, it's de jour, de facto by the days of Megillas Tainus of Simcha from both the night before. Okay, so it says more. Masnisa Obi Alf Krabiosi, Obi Base Ke Krabi Meir. So the Brisa is going either like on the 11th day of Krabiosi or on the 12th day like Krabi Meir. Now let's see the Korban 8 here. Korban 8 says Masnisin Ditznan. It's about a little bit less than halfway down the column in the inner column. Even though it says you make the days earlier and not later, those days which we saw in the Mishnah a few moments ago, down base, those days you can make earlier, not later. Mutar Mesetanis, you don't have to make Mesetanis. If Shaluk Meshu Yomim Elu Dahainu B'Av Adarat Zayin Bo. You can't say the days from the Avad until the Zayin. Mutar and best friends are all Mutar and Hesed El Obi Ba'al Krabiosi. The Udal Tesvav Uchuli Amasur. Dasvav is definitely also an Hesed and Tinus. Right? The Gimel Yom Nikanur Shakasim Gil's Tinus. And the Gimel, evidently before they fixed Tinus Esther on that day, was considered to be the Yom Nikanor, and therefore was also an Hesed and Tinus. Shakasim Gil's Yom Yud Beis, also Shiyam Shalufanov. And the 12th day is us because Rabbi Yotzah, she does all the days. Megillas Tainus, the day before, is also Aser. So therefore, Yud Beis would also be Aser to fast, according to fast according to Rabbi Yossi. So therefore, when it says Magdimi, you can't fast. It's not talking about any day other than Yud Aleph, according to Rabbi Yossi. Yud Beis, Krabi Meir, going up to Yud Beis. Remember, you can't fast on the 12th because Krabi Meir, the sober, the lowly sana, ain't no Sarah Sholofonov. Because the old days, because constant, when you're not out to fast, it doesn't ask the day before. You only can stomach seat. That lowly sana, Yom Yikano is one of those days of lowly sanos, and therefore, lowly sanos means, and not a day in which you can't also make a spading. A day in which you cannot be Masana and also not make a spading, Rameir would agree that the day before is also Usr. In Hesped, in Tainus, not Hesped, I think. But in any event, so Rameir holds that these days are the days, the Yom Nikanor Asr doesn't ask you base, so therefore Yalfin base it could be Misana. According to Rabbi Yossi, Yom Nikanor does ask you base in Tainus, so therefore the only day can be Misana of the days in which you read in Megillah is Yud Aleph. Okay. So, says more further. What are these days? Good question, right? Well, not yet. Sorry. The Kasha of Rabbi Yossi is what the Korban says. Changes Kasha of Rabbi Meir to Kasha of Rabbi Yossi. That's Kasha and Rabbi Yossi. Lochentani, did we not learn? What are these days? Betray Nasar Bey Yom Tirion. The 12th day is the day of Tirion. So, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha, Bita Yom Tirion, Yom Sheraglu Lanus Papa. So this is a question and answer. So the question is, it says that Yud Beis Adar is Yom Tirion. So forget about being the day before Yud Gimel, before Yom Nikanor. That's a special Yom Tov in and of itself. It's Yom Tirion. So therefore, even you should not be able to fast, even Rabbi Yossi on Yud Beis. So it said, more answers. Rabbi Yaakov answered, no, Batal Yom Tirion. The day of Tirion was canceled because Yom Sherag Lulan's Papas, two famous tzaddikim were killed in Lud by the Romans, and because they were killed, so there was made kind of like a national day of mourning, and therefore it's mutter to there's no Isser of fasting on that day. The Megillah's Tainis Simcha of that day was nullified and canceled. Okay? So, B'tlasa Seba Be Yom Nikanor. On 30th day is the day of Nikanor. Mal Yom Nikanor. What is the day of Nikanor? Shilta Misham Malchus Yov Anhoya. He was a governor from ruler from the kingdom of Greece. Over Alexandria, he was going through Eretz Yisrael to Alexandria. The Raz Yerushalayim, and he saw Yerushalayim. The Chirei V'Gidei, and he blasphemed against Yerushalayim. He blasphemed and he mocked and he scoffed. However you want to translate those words, they're all basically synonyms. V'amar, he said, "B'shuvi v'shalom," he said, when they come back from Alexandria, peace, I will destroy this tower. And one of the Chashmonai came out, and he was killing the soldiers of Nicanor. Until he reached, it should be here Likronin, according to Karmei, which means the carriage of Nicanor. They came to Konim Shalo. Once he got to Nicanor's carriage, Kata es Yoda, he chopped off his hands, Chata his rosho, and chopped off his head. The Tachvam be'etz, and he put him on a piece of wood. The Kosam in the matzah, and he wrote below that Hapeshet Iber Bashma, the mouth which spoke with guilt. Vayat Shepashta B'Noveh, and the hand which was outstretched against Shepash B'Gava, which was outstretched with arrogance. He wrote on the piece of wood identifying this person. Vitalium Bekuntes, and he hung them on, I forget what kuntes means, just a peg, a large piece of wood. He hung them up. In other words, it was kind of like an early form of crucifix, I guess. He had the head on top and the hands outstretched, and the rest of it was not the body, but the piece of wood, which was hung. And Neg Yerushalayim, he hung it up opposite Yerushalayim, and it's not very PC. Anyway, well, we don't celebrate the fact that he hung him up. That was the minute of the time, but we celebrate the victory, I assume. So Al Daited Rabbi Yossi. So according to Rabbi Yossi, again, Korban Ada changes the names here. Nicha. So I understand. Ba lo sarafonov. So why we mention Yud Gimel as a special day? Because it is because we don't normally answer the day before. So Yom Nikanor wouldn't answer the day before the fast, because Yud Gimel in and of itself. So therefore, we have to mention we have to mention. Oh no, I'm sorry. The other way around. Yud Daled would not answer the day before, right? Because we don't. The days Megillah Tainis Clean Purim don't answer the day before, right? So therefore, I tell you, Gimel is a special yontif, right? But al daite de Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Meir, ma bolosar, what's it going to forbid in Hesped and Tainis? Hesped or Tainis. Leis le'atzmo asur mimnei Yudalid. Doesn't he hold it's also anyway because it's Erev Yudalid? According to Rabbi Meir, the days which are Erev Yom Tov Megillah Tainis are also asur. So what's going to tell us that's additionally asur? Says more, it's going to tell you in addition that you're not allowed to make a hesped. In other words, if you just tell me Yom Nikanor is Erev Purim, it would also only be asur b'tainis. But because of its special character in and of itself, so therefore it's also to make not only to fast, but even to make a spedim at that day. So says Marav Afilu al the Rabbi Yossi, again going to Korban changes here. Lacey Makashio, isn't that difficult? Lochin Tani betraying us Sarbe Yom Tirion. Rabbi says that the 12th day is Yom Tirion, and if you take a look at the top of the second column here, it says here, starting from the end of the first line, I feel Rabbi Yossi Namikasha. The lake of the the Bol Esor Yom Shelafonav, the Hainu Yom Yud Beis, Hash the Iu Gufe Batel, Kam Rabbi Yaakov bar Acha. Koshkein Shen Eser Neser Mishum Yom Shelidei Gimel. El Korchach Lomar Ditzich Yom Gimel Leser Behesped. In Kain Rabbi Meir Nami Lo Kasha. So he says interesting thing. He says that it's according to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi one holds that Rabbi Yossi, he said before, holds that. I'm not processing this. Just a second. Rabbi Yossi Nami Kasha make a member of the Bolas or Yom Shel Fanav. According to Rabbi Yossi, also it should be difficult that you can't say it comes to the Asa the day before you base, right? Because Hashti you go a goof of Batak or Yaakov bar Acha, right? Koshkein Shein Esem Mishum Yom Shelidei Gimel. Right, so it's certainly not us because Yom Day for Gimel. Kol Lomar the Itzterich Yom Gimel LaAsra BeHesped. That's going to tell us that Yom Gimel is also in Hesped. And I may or no Nami Lokasha. Oh, I'm not getting this. I forgot what this means. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It works backwards. So in other words, it was. It's not a kasha. I think it's question. Yeah, no, it's a question. I know it's a question. That's thing. So the question is like this: the even according to it's going even a few Rabbi Yossi. Leisim kasha is not difficult even according to Rabbi Yossi, right? Not this day, but why is Treyasar Bay Yom Tirion mentioned? Why is it true if they mentioned as Yom Tirion? Anyway, it should be us. It should be also in Hesped and Tainus because it's the day. One second. No, so sorry. Let's go back a line in the Gemara. Let's go back now. So the Gemara says, going back a line. Al daited Rabbi Yossi nicha. Rabbi Yossi makes sense that we mentioned Yud Gimel in order to ask the day before. But Al daited Rabbi Yossi mabal loser. According to Rabbi Meir was come to aser. There's no such thing as sorry. That's Rabbi Yossi nicha bal. It comes to aser the day before, meaning Yud Beis. Right? That's what Gimel was mentioned. Well, Rabbi Meir, Mabal Loser, according to Rabbi Meir, was the day before your Gimel is not going to be Loser anyway. So the fun of Leisley, Atzmos, it's not going to be the day before, so it must come. So and it's because of and it's in and of itself is also because of Yudalit. So Liodiachosh also behesped. So it's going to tell that it's also to be maspid even on your Gimel. So it says Gemara Rabbi Yossi. Even Rabbi Yossi holds that the day before is Aser, right? And your Gimel should be coming to Aser. Leisim Mikasha is not difficult. Leisim Mikasha, is it not difficult? Lochein Tani betraying Asar Bay Yom Tirion. On the 12th day is Yom Tirion, so therefore you don't have to mention the 13th in order to Aser Yom the 12th in Tainus, because it's Aser in and of itself, because it's Yom Tirion. So Gemara says no. The day Yom Tirion is canceled. Shenareg Linus with Pipus, because Linus with Pipus is the day on on that day. So therefore, you have to tell me that, I think is what Ron wrote here, but therefore the Gimel has to be told to us, according to Rabbi Yossi, for after the time that you base the batel. In other words, all days of Megillas Taanis are not linked to each other, so therefore, even though you base this batel in and of itself, because of Yom Tirna's batel, but according to Rabbi Yossi, it's also because of before your Gimel. Let me try this again, okay? So because it was confusing. So the Gemara says, according to Meir, I don't understand why I need your Gimel to be mentioned. It's the day before you doubt anyway, and the day before you doubt is also, right? So Gemara says, no. According to Meir, it would be also to be misana, but it wouldn't be also to make a hesped. So therefore, if it does, the Gimel is also in and of itself because also make a hesped. Okay? Now, according to according to Rabbi Yossi, we have also a question. Why does that mention? Why does it have to mention Yud Gimel altogether? Because according to Rabbi Yossi, the day before is also in both Tainus and in Hesped. Those are both, right? So therefore, Yud Gimel doesn't even mention at all. According to Rabbi Meir, is nafkimina. According to Rabbi Meir, the day before it's also being mitzaneh. The day before that it's also mitzaneh. But if it was not in and of itself a yontiv, it would be mutter to make a Hesped. So therefore, after this, Yud Gimel is also in and of itself, because of Yom Nikanor. Now we know it's also in Hesped. But now, why does Yud Gimel according to Rabbi Yossi though? According to Rabbi Yossi, the day before Yud Daled is also ready not just in Tainus but also in Hesped. So if that's the case, why do I have to mention Yud Gimel? We know because Yud Daled Yud Gimel is also. It does the independent Isser doesn't add anything, because the independent Isser is not adding on anything besides Hesped and Tainus, which are also anyway. So therefore, why mention Gimel? So the Gemara answers no. I'll tell you why. Because once upon a time we had you, and if you're going to tell me, before you get the answer, then the next stage of Gemara, where it says, and if you're going to tell me because, and if you're going to tell me a Gimel, it's not explicit Gemara, but if you're going to tell me your Gimel has to be mentioned because of the day before your Gimel, which according to Rabbi Yossi will be Aser in Tainus. Maybe in Hesped, wherever Tainus and Hesped, it's not true, because the day before it would be Aser of itself because of Yom Tiriyim. So that's Kashi and Rabbi Yossi, not just Rabbi Meir. Why mention Gimel altogether? Your base has its own parameters. So says Gemara, no. It would have had its own parameters if it had not been Bata because of Linus and Papus. But since because of Linus and Papus, Yud Beis lost its parameters of Isser, Hesped, and Tainus, the only reason why it's also Hesped and Tainus is because it's Erev Yud Gimel. So it comes out a fascinating thing. It comes out that each day Megillas Tainus has its own parameters, but it also has parameters of the day after. So therefore, even though Yom Tiriyim lost its own parameters, because Yom Papus Linus, nevertheless it retains parameters of Isser Tainus because of Yom Yud Gimel, which is the Yom Nikanor. So therefore, what comes out in Megillas Tainus is even if Yud Beis is batel for some reason, in its own merit, nevertheless it retains Isser Tainus because of Yud Gimel, and that's what's going on here. That's why all these days have to be mentioned. Now, all of this is very difficult in a different sense, which maybe is what's confusing, which is these days are celebratory days because there's a history to them. They're not celebratory days just because let's eat, drink, and make merry. So therefore, it's a little bit difficult. Why can't we just say Megillas Tainus is telling us the history of these days, right? It sounds like we don't really care about the history as long as we don't get to say Tachnu, so to speak. But so that is difficult. Why the premise of the Gemara, the assumption that we don't have to know the history, we just have to know that it's a day which is no Tainus, and therefore it doesn't matter if it's in and of itself or it's because it's the next day. But that seems to be the premise of the discussion of the Gemara. Okay, so let's go further. B'Yudat Ezva Puraya. So B'Yudat Ezva, we know, Megillas Tainus says a Purim. Lo Lisman, lo Mispad. No Hesped, and of course now no Tainus as well. B'Shisas Arbei, on the 16th day of Adar, Sharon Lemivnei Shur Yerushalayim, they began rebuilding the wall of Yerushalayim in the time of the second base of Mikdash. The Lo Mispad. More than that, you don't make a Hesped on that day. Okay? So no Tainus either. So Al-Daiter Meir Nicha. So according to Meir Nicha, Bolo Sar you Tezva Tezayin is Aser, comes to Aser in of itself. Now according to Meir, there is, again, according to Rabbi Yossi, days aser before and after in Hesped and Tainus. But according to Meir, there's no after. So therefore, the 16th day of Adar has to be enumerated independently as an Isser, because otherwise I'm not going to know it's Aser. Because it's the Tezvav, Adar, is not going to Aser the day afterwards. But according to Rabbi Yossi, Al Dai Rabbi Yossi, Mabo Lesor, Shalafanav Lesik. Let's come to Aser Tez 15, because 15, so it's because important. Atzma Aser B'nei Tezvav. So it in itself is Aser because it's the day after Tezvav, right? I want to point out something here, which is the same about Megillas Tainus, which is our Shabbos. Of course, we also to fast on Friday and Sunday. Do Hesped on Friday and Sunday, but Shabbos because it's before and after Yom Tov, so to speak. But the nuance of which is going to come clear is the nuance of Megillas Tainus. It's also in Tainus, right? Not in Hesped, but in Tainus. Rabbi Yosef's day before is also in Tainus and Hesped, and the day afterwards is also in Tainus. So again, these are in order to be mechazik these Megillas Tainus days. So the Gemara says, so why according to Meir, according to Yosef, does it tell us that Tez Zayin is also? It's not just Aser in Tainus, like post any other Megillas Tainus day, but it's also Aser in Hesped as well. Okay, B'Shuvas Arbo, on the 17th day of Adar, Kamen Amamaya Pleta Safraya Bedinas Belkis Ubeis Zavdin. There was some sort of pogrom on the remnant of the Sofrim in the country of Belkis and the country of Zavdin, and have a parkon. And there was a redemption. Okay, so that's a yontif. So Adaiter Meir Nicha. So according to Meir, okay, we understand why it's asking Yud Zayin. Come tell us it's Yud Zayin. Bol Esor Atzmo. Tell us Yud Zayin itself is the yontif, right? But Adaiter the Rabbi Yossi Mabol Esor. So according to Rabbi Yossi, what does it come to Aser? It's the day after Tezayin, day after Yom Yerushalmi. So therefore, it's also anyway to make a tainus. So it doesn't answer here that it's also in Hesped, because anyway, it's not chashim not to be also in Hesped. It's not like Yom Yerushalmi. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi, the Gemara said, Koli Messiah, Koli Lane. Milaya, all these two things, lo Messiah, lo Tavron, they don't assist, nor do they break. Are all these Gemaras where the Yekas get the list of days which they, I don't know what else to say. I'm not sure, I don't think the Yekas, nobody gives Megillas Tainus, so it's not from here because Megillas Tainus, Chazal say Megillas Tainus, so it doesn't count anymore. I'm not sure where they get their dates from. So, what we said before was that the whole premise of the story is strange. It's coming to tell us the days in which this happened to Am Yisrael. It's just telling us the story of what happened. It doesn't have to have enough communal halacha necessarily. It's telling us these are Yom Tovim, which things happen. So again, the premise of the story is very strange, but that is what that Gemara finally comes to this conclusion now and says that that's not. It is not necessarily halachic ramifications, but it's historical ramifications. Okay. You show this is true. The Tanya we learned Reish Yachad and Nisan and Yom Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is Yom Tov because it's Rosh Chodesh. We have another Yom Tov, the Takim Tmida, because the Tamid was sustained. The Korban brings down those whole machlekes whether the Korban Tamid can be brought from as a voluntary korban by an individual, has to be brought from the money of the tzibur, and we say it has to be brought from the money of the tzibur, and that machlekes was resolved in our favor on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, so therefore I have a yativ on Rosh Chodesh Nisan for that, and the Lola Mispad, and it's not make a hesped on that day. So it says the Gemara below Kachenu Asim Shem Rosh Chodesh. It's not because it goes to Rosh Chodesh anyway, so therefore no, obviously it's going to tell us even when there's no nafkamina halacha that these are the special days because of the historical events which happened on them. Now, concerning what I told you before, Shabbos is Yom Tovim, Misanif Neima Chareihem. Shabbos Yontif. We do a Tainus both before and after Shabbos or Yontif. It doesn't have the same parameters of Rabbi Yossi both the day before and the day after. And Rabbi Meir the day before. Why? Why are you leaning by Shabbos Yontif and more machmir by days and Megillas Tainus? Because these are the Raisa. The ain't Divrei Torah Tzrichim Chizuk, and Divrei Torah do not require the same Chizuk. But Divrei Torah, these are Rabbanim B'Divrei Seifrim Tzrichim Chizuk. They don't require Chizuk, and therefore there's more Chizuk. Hadad that Amar actually above the Megillas Tainus, but that's only true before Megillas Tainus was nullified. However, Mishabad Megillas Tainus Batlu Kolelu, all bets are off. Every day is Mutzar and Hesping and Tainus. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Chani, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Tarvaya Amri Batlu Megillas Tainus. They said Megillas Tainus is nullified. Above Rabbi Simon Amri Batlu Megillas Tainus. They said it's nullified. Rabbi Yerushalmi Amar Batlu Megillas Tainus. He said it's nullified. Rabbi Yochanan said, yesterday I sat and learned over. Meiser should go to Tainus b'Chanukah b'Lud. That's what happened. They go to create a Tainus in Chanukah, on Chanukah, in Lud. Vrama Rabbi Lezer, and they said to Rabbi Lezer, Shesiper, that Rabbi Lezer, on that day they made a Tainus. He ignored the Tainus. He took a haircut. Obviously, it was a haircut it was a Tainus Geshamim, so it's a severe Tainus. So he nevertheless, he ignored it, he took a haircut. Rabbi Yeshua Sharach, so Yeshua went to the bathhouse, which should be also on days in which it's a Tainus for rain. So, Rabbi Yeshua said, and Rabbi Yeshua said then to the people who made the Tainus, go on a fast that you fasted. In other words, kapara. So rare mention of Hanukkah. Yeah, Hanukkah is rarely mentioned, that's true, but not sure it's deliberate like people think. But, okay, rare mention of Hanukkah, fine. So V'atamar Batel Megillas Tainus. So I can say Megillas Tainus is Batel. See, Hanukkah is Megillas Tainus Day, and you don't have to fast because you fasted on Megillas Tainus Day. So Rabbi Barba said, there's also in the Bible, of course, Avagav Datam Batel Megillas Tainus, Chanukah Purim Lo Batlu. Those 2 days, even though theoretically they're Megillas Tainus days, they were not Batel with the rest of Megillas Tainus. Milain Rabban Rami Ma Batla Megillas Tainus. The following stories is going to tell about the rabbis indicate that Megillah Megillas Tainus. Rabbi Yochanan sang Kol Rav Reish Shata. Rav Shuba. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yavun, sorry, but passed every Erev Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan sang Kol Arvas Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Yochanan fasted every Erev Rosh Hashanah. So according to Pnei Moshe, according to say that the pshat is that the pshat is that they fasted these days, even if they came out on Megillas Tainus days. Yes, almost we didn't have it. So they fasted even though they're Megillas Tainus days. I'm sorry, even though they came out on days which Megillas Tainus days. Now it means that Erev Rosh Hashanah is a little bit difficult to see that. But Erev Shabbos, theoretically, according to the calendar, could have come out on Megillas Tainus day, and nevertheless they fasted on that day. So therefore, it's a riot that Megillas Tainus is bottom. But the Shai Teres says differently. Shai Teres says in Megillas Tainus Perek Yud Aleph, it says you could fast on Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov, but you can't be mashlim to fast. You can't fast until the beginning of Shabbos or Yom Tov. Obviously, Asar B'Tevis is an exception, but normally you can't fast on Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov and complete the fast. You only fast half a day. So therefore, it must be that if they nevertheless fasted a whole day in Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov, that they counted Batel Megillas Tainus, and just like Batel Megillas Tainus, for this halacha of not fasting all day Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov, it must be there was Batel for all the rest of the halachas as well. Okay, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha, Mifkad L'Safraya, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha commanded the scribes in Atis, we're on the top of one base now. In Atis, if a woman comes to ask you, when I guess it's the women normally used to fast a lot. Says that the Vilna Gaon's wife was when Chal upon itself wants to fast from Shabbos to Shabbos, and the Vilna Gaon stopped her from fasting because he said you have to eat Malav Malka. So those Like it was made for the nether. You nullified the nether. So yeah, women, it seems, fasted always much more than men. Certainly, Noshim are much bigger tzidkanios than men are. But in Asas Isa Mishachan, im related to Kitzala, the Chom Isani, you can fast any day, Chutz Mishabosas, V'yom Toivim, except for Shabbos, Yontiv, Rosh Chodoshim, V'chol Shamoed, V'chanukah Purim. So only the days you have today, the basics, so to speak. Okay? Shimra Ba Amar, Asa Uvda Kumi Rabbi Yochanan, a episode came in front of Rabbi Yochanan, the Holy Rabbi Yossi, and he passed like Rabbi Yossi. Now, this Rabbi is out of left field. This is out of left field, really. And what he passed like Rabbi Yossi is, I have your note, that you're not gozer atayis l'chatchila on a Thursday. You never, in other words, in any series of fasts, you never start on a Thursday. In other words, from when you fast from rain, you have Monday, Thursday, Monday. You might say you start the next series of fasts and do Thursday, Monday, Thursday. No, fast always have to start from a series of 3 fasts. Always have to start from Monday. So it'd be Monday, Thursday, Monday. Skip the next Thursday, and then another Monday, Thursday, Monday. But you don't start a series of fasts on Thursday. Okay. So in Pasuk Rabbi Yossi that we don't make a fast l'chatchila beginning on Thursday. But Rabbi Lezer mitzdareh, and Rabbi Lezer was upset. Rabbi said, "Shavkin stama varichi chida." We forsook a stam mishnah, evidently, where we're in Tainus, where it sounds like you can start a series of fasts on Thursday, and we do like an individual, not that way. So he found that Rabbi Meir said that you can't begin a series of fasts on Thursdays. The elder knows how to resolve how to resolve this issue for himself. I'm not sure exactly what it means for himself, but the point is that Rabbi Yochanan. So it's like this. Sorry, Shimon bar Rabbi Lezer was mitzdayer. Rabbi Yochanan paskin like an individual, like Rabbi Yossi. When he heard Rabbi Chia said was the name Rabbi Meir, and the halacha is like Rabbi Meir. Stop. So therefore, he said, "Oh, Rabbi Yochanan knew well what he was doing when he did that." Yeah. So Rabbi Mona ba'kum Rabbi Yehuda, lochem Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Voshen, Rabbi Lezer. Okay, but it still doesn't help us out because halacha is like a stam mishnah. The stam mishnah seems to say that we don't that we don't start a series of fasts on a Thursday, right? That we do start a series of fasts on a Thursday. So Amalei said, "Lo Rebbe Dilma Choron." So this machlokes was it's not in the Mishnayos. It's in Brises. In other words, Rabbi Chia learned this machlokes, not Rebbe. So it's not a machlokes chakastam, lachakastam. It's only Mishnayos where Rebbe, in and of itself, said that the first of the machlokes in Mastam, and not taking into account the Mishnah, the Brises of Rabbi Chia. To see that Chazim Sefer says at the bottom. When a stam Mishnah and machlokes in the Brisa halacha is not like the stam Mishnah. Talina Rebbe lo yada Brisa, because we assume Rebbe didn't know the Brisa. If Yoda have a other baby, if you knew the Brisa would have reneged. Interesting, right? The other man was the Rebbe Shadi, the Gav Rabbi. So Rebbe is different because he was such a great man. I can't say he didn't know a Brisa, right? Shavad Levade Esakol Ra'ah the Yoda Vafilach Stam the local machlekes in Brisa, and nevertheless he passed in Stam. So therefore, it's not Brisa. So machlekes in the Brisa, this is a Stam Mishnah. So the question is whether a Stam Mishnah overrides a brisa or doesn't override a brisa, which is an interesting issue because if I recall correctly in the Bavli, there's no havamina that a brisa can overcome a stam mishnah. But here we have such an issue, and therefore, even though we have a stam mishnah that goes and says that you can't make a stand that you can start a tainus on that you can start a series of tainusim on a Thursday since the machlokes. So therefore, I think I'm getting this wrong. I think whatever. In any case, maybe. So scratch that. So he paskin like so he can paskin or Yochanan can paskin like Ramein the Brisa. Okay. So let's see inside again. So Mahin Lo Rebbe Dimachoron. It's not Rebbe who said the machlokes. It's not Rebbe Chia. Mahin on Ashkechan Rebbe machlokes. Because of Shana halacha stam, where we find Rebbe learned machlokes, and then afterwards said halacha stam. So then halacha stam. Then said stam. Then halacha stam. I said Lashkach Rei Masim Elos. We don't find Rebbe learned machlokes himself. Erchein Shana machlokes. Others learned the machlokes. Rabbi Chia and the Brisos. Rabbi Shana stam, and then Rebbe said it was stam mishnah. Look, actually, I forgot. It's the Kal V'Chomer. Sorry. So asking, wait a minute. It's the Kal V'Chomer. If where we find that Rebbe said the machlokes because of Shana stam, then he said stam mishnah halacha kastam. So aside the lo ashkach Rebbe masking machlokes, but so Rebbe did not say a machlokes over. The elachem shana machlokes, but other people said it's machlokes. And Rebbe shana stam, but Rebbe didn't even mention machlokes. Just said stam mishnah lo chol shreishet halacha stam. It's not a Kal V'Chomer that the halacha is stam. So therefore, it's Kasher Rabbi Yochanan. We reject the man the Omar or the premise that the bride that machlokes stam halacha kistam only applies where it's a mishnah and a mishnah. Now it's a brayso and a mishnah. We say Kal V'Chomer. That's true. It's a brayso and mishnah. So as Rabbi Chizkiya, Rabbi Yaakov Bracha. Shimon Bar Acha, this is already going to be another question in Rabbi Yochanan. But let's leave this for next week because we're already over the 45 minutes, which we self-imposed as a maximum limit for this shir. So we'll come back to this line of Asa and Yirtzeh Hashem next Sunday night. Bye. Interesting call issues, yes, that's true.